Well, it was another seesaw session as the major indices, you can see they closed in the green, but barely. The market has become something of a rudderless ship, trading in a very tight range. Although on one hand, there's impressive resolve, but whenever the Dow creeps near, 2,600 on the downside, it comes back. But on the upside, there are no catalysts to sustain these rallies. Consider this. We've given up intraday gains of 200 points, almost 200 points, almost 100 points for the last 3 sessions. So here's what you do. I think you should have more cash than normal, but don't get too defensive. You don't want to go to shorts and elaborate hedges just yet. I will say, too, also on a positive note, transportation names rallied really nicely in the wake of that trucking mega merger between Knight and Swift. Unfortunately, though, only airlines have less weight in the Dow Jones Transportation Index than truckers. FedEx and UPS at 13 and 8.4% have the most influence, but keep an eye on them. That's a cup and handle formation, very bullish. The biggest winner today was energy. West Texas Intermediate finished the session above $53, up 1.6% for the session. But it wasn't a banner day for all fossil fuels, in part to great resistance from the state of New York. The state's attorney general continues to fight the new administration, even leading 17 other states and pushing back against President Trump's March executive order to shut down President Obama's Clean Power Plan. And then on Friday, New York State Department of Environment and Conservation and Natural Fuel denied a water permit, in fact, several of them, for a pipeline that would have taken gas from fracking fields in northern Pennsylvania and upstate counties in New York to Canada, which brings us to coal, which, of course, bore the brunt of Obama's war on fossil fuels. The big question everyone's asking is, can this industry come back, even with a friend in the White House? Speaking of a friend, joining me now, Robert Murray, CEO of Murray Energy. Robert, you're one of my favorite. You're passionate, but you're also very honest about this. And a lot of people are wondering, is it too little, too late, despite the efforts of President Trump?
No, it's not. And good afternoon, Charles. Mr. Trump is doing some wonderful things for the coal industry, for our coal miners, and for America. His cancellation of the Obama administration's Clean Power Plan, which would have not affected the environment at all, has already created 25,000 coal mining jobs. That law would have closed 56 more coal-fired power plants on top of the 411 that Mr. Obama and his Democrat friends already closed. It would have cost the taxpayer and the ratepayer $214 billion, and it would have raised electric rates 31%. So he's not only done a wonderful thing for the coal industry in bringing back 25,000 of the 63,000 jobs that Obama and the Democrats destroyed, he's also helped everyone in their electric rates by 31%.
What do you make of it then when you have Eric Schneiderman and 17 other state attorney generals pushing back, still trying to find any recourse or any legal course they could to stick with this plan no matter what, despite the fact that this is an executive order and a new page has been turned at the White House?
I think it's shameful. Schneiderman, those of his ilk, Americans voted in Donald Trump as president, and they're having difficulty in accepting it, and they're slowing down his ability to get in charge of America because we're essentially under many of the Obama Democrat rules. Schneiderman and the others know this. And as long as they can impede this president, which the Americans voted for, the average American who voted for him should be outraged with Schneiderman and the Democrats and what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep the Obama regulations in place, Charles, as long as they can.
Yeah, well, that ruling on Friday destroyed millions of dollars in economic opportunity for upstate New York where people are suffering. And it's crazy how they continue to put ideology above the well-being of human beings, people who live under them. Real quick before I let you go, Peabody coming out of bankruptcy, is that a great sign for your industry? I mean, you guys, are you really back?
I don't think it makes any difference where Peabody stands. These companies that went bankrupt in 2016, Charles, there were 52 of them. Only 4 of us weren't bankrupt. They come out of bankruptcy. They dump their liabilities. They dump their employee-related for their pensioners. They walk away from their creditors. They don't close the coal mine, and they come out, and we have to compete with them who stayed out of bankruptcy. It's really bad, and it just brings us all down what I call the bankruptcy sewer, Charles.
Well, you know what, though, Robert? You stay in the course, and you've become a hero to a lot of people, and I appreciate you taking the time tonight.
I appreciate you, too, Charles. God bless you.
Thank you. You, too.